my dear friend, and welcome back to another evening of fantasy stories, adventures to help you unwind and fall asleep. So, go ahead and settle into a comfortable position. Earphones are recommended for the best audio experience. Take a few deep breaths and begin to relax. Release the day and let go of the tension in your mind. Relax your forehead, your cheeks, your jaw. Relax your neck, your shoulders. And now relax your arms. Make them feel very heavy as they lie next to you. Let go of the tension in your legs and fall into the softness around you. Now let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose and count to 3. And now exhale through your mouth, counting to 3 again. 3, 2, 1. Now let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 3, 2, 1. And one more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 3, 2, 1. Today's tale is going to be about Aphrodite and her last kiss. This is a variation on the Greek mythology, a new story about the famous goddess who ruled the hearts of gods and mortals alike. Her beauty and power as the goddess of love made her adored, but maybe many also envied her. Chief among her rivals was Hera, the queen of the gods, whose jealousy simmered with every tale of Aphrodite's influence over Zeus and the mortals he doted on. One day during a gathering on Olympus, Hera's patience finally snapped. Aphrodite had been crowned the most beautiful goddess once again at a festival, her presence commanding admiration from every corner. Hera, humiliated, decided she could no longer bear to see the goddess of love revealed in her splendor. So, Hera had a plot. She sought out Hypnos, the god of sleep, and in his shadowed cave at the edge of the world, she told him, "You owe me a favor." And at Hera's bidding, Hypnos lulled Zeus into a slumber. "What do you wish?" Hypnos asked. "Put Aphrodite into a sleep. For decades and decades, since her duty caused great discord amongst the gods." Hypnos hesitated, wary of angering another Olympian, but Hera's words carried the weight of her power, and he agreed. But he did say that he cannot put Aphrodite into an endless slumber. He could put her into a temporary sleep, and she can be awakened by a kiss. However, if she is to be kissed again, she will turn the person who kisses her into the stone. And so it happened. On one day when Aphrodite was walking along the shore of the ocean, the place of her birth, Hypnos summoned some of his disciples to meet her there. They gave her wine and fruits and danced with her, and Aphrodite didn't notice that the wine had poison in it, the sleeping poison, and after drinking one sip of it, she fell asleep. the disciples took her into a cage and locked it up, and she slept for decades and decades. So time has passed, many years, many summers, many winters, and Aphrodite slept in the cage. Her dream was sweet. Occasionally she would have nightmares, but she could never wake up from them. And so it happened that after so many decades of her sleep, slowly the cave where she laid withered away, and a passage was built by the ocean's water, which stubbornly put his waves again and again against the cave. The closed stones slowly brittled away, and a passage was opened. And one day a young man who was a shepherd in the area was hiding from a storm. He saw the little opening in the cave and crept in. He thought he would see spiders and different creatures of the dark, but instead of that, he saw the most beautiful woman he could ever lay his eyes on. She lay there on a stone in her beautiful white clothes, with the golden shimmering hair and the porcelain white skin. Her eyes were closed, and she was sleeping. He could see her steady breath. The young man looked at her in awe, and he didn't notice how the storm has passed and the new day has started, and he was still sitting there and looking at her. And when he realized how much time has gone by, he started getting worried why the beautiful maiden wouldn't wake up. He slowly and very cautiously brushed her cheek with his finger, but she didn't wake up. He softly whispered a few words of encouragement to ask her to stand up, but nothing happened. But she's alive, he thought. She's breathing. How can it be that she's not waking up? Mesmerized by her beauty, he dared to place a soft kiss on her lips. Though he did read fairy tales of old, and in many fairy tales, the prince would awaken the princess, and even though he was no prince, he did hope that he would be able to awaken this beauty. And to his great surprise, Aphrodite woke up. She slowly opened her eyes and saw the young, beautiful shepherd in front of her. She wasn't sure what happened. The last time she fell asleep, she was with the other gods and their disciples, drinking wine and dancing by the seashore. "Who are you?" she asked the young shepherd. "Are you from the god Hypnosis? You've come to wake me up. I've slept so long." The shepherd didn't know what to answer. He thought she was mocking him, though in his world, in this stage, there were no more gods. There was just the usual life. And the shepherd, named Elias, told her that there are no gods, my beauty. I'm just a shepherd, Elias, who found you in the cage. And Aphrodite grew angry at him, storming out and seeing how the landscape has changed. The sea was still the same, but she would notice the buildings, the paths surrounding this area, and she noticed that the clothes of her rescuer were different. She tried to summon her powers, but alas, nothing could happen. So much time has passed that all of the gods have lost their powers, and nothing could have come from it anymore. She sat down and wept as she realized that she'd slept for many, many decades, and all of those loved ones, they are not there anymore, no more with her. And she told him that she probably was poisoned with a magical drink that made her sleep for a very, very long time. Elias took pity on her and said, "I have a little cottage not far from here, there in the mountains. If you have nowhere to go, you can come with me." Reluctantly, Aphrodite agreed, "But just for one night, I will find my own way in this world, and I will find those that still know me." And so she went with Elias to his cottage. He gave up his room for her and went to sleep in the barn. And the next day Aphrodite said that she will go and wander around to look for somebody who is like her, somebody who could still remembers her or knows of her. Elias mentioned, "But it's too dangerous to be out there alone. How can you go like this, barefoot, with only these clothes? The winter is coming and you need to be prepared for a long, long journey." And Aphrodite realized that without her magical powers, there's not much that she can do. The shepherd said, "I will sell what I have and buy clothes for you. But first, let's go to the city, and maybe there's some more people who would know what happened to your kind." And so Aphrodite traveled with Elias to the city. They went from door to door to elders, and finally they found an old magician. She was not very revered in the city. Most people feared her, but the shepherd said, out of desperation, "She's the only one who might be able to help us." So Elias and Aphrodite went to this magician, and upon seeing Aphrodite, the magician gasped, "Oh, daughter of Zeus, the famous Aphrodite, how come you're in our world?" And Aphrodite told her the story of the wine and how long she'd slept. And the magician said, "I've heard rumors that you have fallen asleep, but I never believed them to be true. All of your kind is long, long gone. You've slept for so long that none of those who you knew once have remained. It's gonna be difficult in this world, but you also must distance yourself from people. If you fall in love and the person kisses you, they will be turned into stone." The first kiss by Elias, and the magician looked at the young shepherd who was blushing in the corner of the room, has woken you up, but the second one is going to turn the other person into stone. This is a powerful spell by your rival from centuries ago, and she would not have it to have you happy, even if she would have woken up. Aphrodite cried bitterly at this news. "How can it be that this is so unjust?" But the magician said, "It is what it is. There is no cure. So please, continue your life as you can in this world forget about being a goddess long time ago, and now you'll have to live like a normal maiden. Gloomy and with eyes full of tears, Aphrodite went back home with Elias. What was she to do? She had nothing that she learned, no trade, no skill. She didn't know anybody. She was so lost. Elias kindly told her, "You can stay with me as long as you need. And when the time comes, maybe you will be able to live on your own." Secretly, Elias didn't want Aphrodite to leave, but he also knew that he couldn't force her to stay. But she agreed. She had nowhere else to go, and she needed a shelter. The winter was approaching fast. The evenings were very cool already, and the rain was falling from the sky more and more often. So Elias and Aphrodite started living together. Elias, who didn't have much, sold what he had and bought shoes and warmer clothes for Aphrodite. And Aphrodite, though she was a spoiled goddess, with time she learned to be thankful and grateful for whatever Elias did for her. She did learn how to sew, and she would sell her works in the marketplace. She did realize that her beauty attracted a lot of customers, so she used it, and her and Elias started living more and more prosperously. And as the day went by, they slowly fell in love. Elias was already in love with Aphrodite when he first saw her, but with time, seeing her kind heart, he understood that he no longer could live without her. And when he spoke of his love to her, Aphrodite was firm. "You have heard what the magician said. If I kiss you, you will be turned to stone, and it will be a last kiss for both of us. Because I also fell in love with you, and I cannot imagine a life without you." And so they continued to live side by side, working, holding hands, spending evenings together. But it became harder and harder for Elias not to be longing for Aphrodite's beautiful red lips. And one night, when Aphrodite was asleep, Elias thought to himself, "I kissed her once, and with the power of my love she has woken up. What if the magician was wrong? What if there's no curse on Aphrodite? I will try, but I can't live anymore without her. And I need just to try and hope that this kiss will not be fatal." And so he leaned into Aphrodite and touched his red lips. Aphrodite has woken up immediately. She felt the cool stone touching her lips and her nose. Immediately she realized what happened. "Oh, wretched, wretched Elias," she lamented. "What have you done? Why didn't you listen to me? Why didn't you listen to the magician? Now there is no future for neither of us." And she cried bitterly over Elias's stone body. "You saved me from the endless sleep, and now how can I go on without you?" She cried bitter, bitter tears, and her tears were so plenty that they've created a little river, and that river fell into the ocean. The ocean still remembering Aphrodite since it was her birthplace, heard the tears and heard the lament, and whispered, "Do not cry, Aphrodite. There is no way to fully undo the curse, but there is a way to reverse it. But as a result, you will be sacrificed. If you kiss Elias back, he will turn a human, but you will become part of me again and go back as water, as seawater back into the ocean. You will go back to your birthplace, and you will never be alone." Aphrodite sighed. She brushed Elias's stone head, took his hands, and said, "My dear friend, my dear lover, this is the only way for us to go. I cannot keep you as a stone forever, and what am I here in this world without you?" She took a piece of her favorite flower, put it into his hands, cut her long locks of hair, and put them into his other hand so that he remembers her. And slowly and softly she lifted herself up and kissed the young shepherd. Elias blinked. "There is no curse. I'm still alive," he whispered, since he didn't remember being a stone. But when looking down on his hands, his back went cold. "Aphrodite, where are you?" He saw her favorite flower in his hands and her hair, and he could see the last parts of the water running away from him out of the house and towards the ocean. He started running next to after this water. "Please, don't leave me, Aphrodite. Don't," though he realized that she turned back into water and was being reunited with the ocean. But he was too late. From the cliff where the house stood, the last bits of the water, which used to be Aphrodite, dribbled into the ocean. "Aphrodite, what have you done? I cannot live without you." And he followed her into the depths of the ocean. No records have remained from this story, but it is said that the lovers reunited as water has reunited in the ocean, and the ocean took them both in and cradled them and let them live forever as two diamond droplets on the bottom of the sea.